You could either talk about whether or not you think she's black or not, or how relevant that is. How about that? How about that? Hi, my name is Reese Waters. Shout out to all of our new subscribers and all of our members that have joined the channel. This is Who Raised Y'all, where we highlight those unique individuals doing their part to make our country worse. You know, the kind of people you will see asking to speak to the manager at the pearly gates. Now, over the course of the last couple of weeks, I have done quite a bit of highlighting of Black Magas.
All the things that have happened to President Trump, the attacks on him, have done nothing more than strengthen Black people's connection to him.
I also think it's important for this particular video to re-rack the definition of a pick-me. We've talked about pick-me's doing the bidding for the majority, but that's not specific to Black people. You can have female pick-me's, you can have lower middle class pick-me's. Pick-me's are not a monolith, but they are sad and particularly trash. I will definitely say that. Now, so many of you guys sent me this particular clip. You knew I had to talk about it. Alex Wagner in Pennsylvania talking to Black voters.
What are your feelings? And let me start with the women here. Okay,
I'm just gonna have to stop down right now. This is the man who you want headlining the piece. Like this the first guy. This the first guy you want me to listen to about this election. Black Barney Rubble right here with a visor on. Like that's who you want. Go ahead. Just, you know what? Just play the video. Just play the video.
She's a woman of color. I'm not putting her down because of that, and I'm not putting her down because she's a woman. I'm not a feminist, so I'm sorry. But at the end of the day, I don't think that she has the personality. I don't think that she has what it takes to go up against Putin.
Okay, so you are disavowing putting her down because she's a woman, even though that you say that she's not a feminist. I don't know why you would mention that if that's not part of your thinking. I don't really understand why that's on your brain. Okay, you don't think she has the personality or what it takes to go up against Putin. What is the personality? What is the personality and what it takes to go up against Putin? Because she's been in Congress, she's been a VP, so she didn't come from nowhere. In terms of personality, she is more in line with personality-wise with not only everybody else who has sat in the Oval Office than Trump is, she is also more aligned personality-wise with every other human being walking the face of the planet than Donald Trump is. So I'm just wondering, like, what is the personality and the what it takes that you're looking for, since it has nothing to do with her being a woman?
And go up against these other presidents that are built for this. I don't want to be scared because my president is scared. I want my president to feel secure and manly and about it.
And there it is. And there it is. I was literally just about to ask, when she said, I don't want to be scared because my president is scared, what about Kamala Harris's history told you that she was scared? What about Trump ducking out of a second debate with her after the first ravaging, where she went over to him and shook his hand? What about any of that told you that she was scared? But then you said that you wanted your president to feel manly. So I don't know why we heard any other words out of her mouth. Like, she told on herself off the top.
We brought up gender, right? Like, do you think it matters that she's a woman and people aren't comfortable having a woman in a top leadership role?
No, I don't think that, because most men, they love their mothers, they love their wives. So As a woman, most men, they respect the woman, but she just don't have the qualification or the education to really run America.
Ooh, where do I start with this one? Okay, what do men loving their wives have to do with them having issues voting for a woman? Because I'm sure the woman who just said she wants her president to feel manly also loves her mother. But she wants her president to feel manly. Like she literally just said, are you paying attention to what's happening in the room? Secondly, let's go ahead and look at her education and her qualifications. So what exactly are the qualifications that you are looking for that she doesn't have? And yeah, it's a rhetorical question.
Because she don't have the experience. She don't understand our struggles.
She don't have the experience. Now, were y'all prepared for this? Did she ambush y'all? Do you know that they're filming? Do you know that there's gonna be broadcast to people? You're answering this like you just ran into an old acquaintance at the grocery store and you're just saying anything to end this interaction so that you can leave. Like, the experience? Please show Alex Wagner's face when she says she don't have the experience.
Because she don't have the experience.
And I know you didn't want to go ham on these black people because you didn't want nobody to accuse you of being racist. You should have just did it.
She don't understand our struggles. And for me to believe you for another 4 years, you're crazy.
I'm gonna put up a poll on the community tab just with that little 5-second slice with a question: what is the most insane thing she said in that 5-second slice? Was it her saying that she doesn't know our struggle, so I'm gonna vote for Donald Trump, the guy with a $400 million inheritance who wouldn't rent to us? Is it her saying that she doesn't understand our struggle? Or the fact that she's going to say, you want us to believe you for another 4 years after you just claimed she didn't have the experience?
Right.
Like, you're crazy. You're saying the same thing that you said 4 years ago.
I'm trying. Like, I'm really trying. Like, I'm spinning my synapses to try and understand what these people are putting down for me to just not dismiss you as being lost to Stockholm syndrome. I'm trying, but you have to have better arguments. This is horrible.
So the fact that she's the vice president
That's
to
just
you
the
is
bottom line.
You're like, you've been here, you've had a chance.
Yes. Well, for me, the very first time I ever heard the name Kamala Harris, it was in association to locking up parents for a truancy. That was the first time I ever heard of her name. And I really didn't understand how this person claims to be a black woman, but yet she's locking up black women and black men and separating families.
Okay, now a lot of her work as a DA and an AG has gotten people to spin those talking points about her locking black people up. I'm just wondering, and there's a lot of information disproving a ton of that. Matter of fact, here's something right here.
Well, how many thousands? 10, 20, 30,000 dudes? So from 2004 to 2010, Kamala Harris was the district attorney for San Francisco. And in that time, she had several convictions for marijuana charges. Her total amount was 1,956 people. And you might say to yourself, that's not thousands. I know, because even less actually went to jail. The number was 45. So for years, we've been told, hey, she's locking up black men left and right unjustly for weed charges. When in fact, not really.
But I'm just curious, how do you balance your perception of Kamala Harris locking up young black men and black women with Donald Trump actively wanting to grant police immunity? How do you balance that? Because you just brought it up. Like, you just brought up a fallacy from decades ago in her experience in California I just brought up something he said weeks ago, continues to repeat about what he's going to do when he becomes president. So I would love to know.
This is the thing that is, Trump talks about this a lot. He says, you know, Kamala Harris became black when it was convenient.
Right. Yeah.
Can you talk to me about, do you agree with him on that? Do you feel like she's wearing her blackness?
Absolutely. She's sworn into when she sworn to the Senate, it was as the first Indian American.
Thank you.
Which is, it's fine. We don't care.
Yeah. We all know she's not black. Let's understand that. We are all clear of that. But my point of view is, like I told you earlier, she's already been there. She's in office right now.
Here we have another case of what's the most insane thing that she said in that 5-second slice? Was it, we all know that she's not black, which you could either talk about whether or not you think she's black or not, or how relevant that is. How about that? How about that? How about how relevant that is? Where have all the conversations about Kamala Harris's race been initiated? Is she the one who keeps getting up there talking about how black she is? All of these conversations originate with Trump.
Is she Indian or is she black?
A, but B, you want to say she's already been there as a case for you to vote against a man who was president from 2016 to 2020? I don't want to just and call y'all woodland creatures. Like, I don't want to do that. But this is all you have. Like, it is apparent that you will make any case in order to associate with the MAGA movement and Donald Trump, which is the epitome of a pick-me. You are doing it for the personal feelings that he gives you on the inside, because for me to try and process that you would make that choice legitimately, you would have had to have articulated it a hell of a lot better than that.
With 14 days left until Election Day, Vice President Kamala Harris, potentially the first female president, remains locked in a fierce battle with the first former president to be found liable for sexually abusing a woman. The crucial fault line of this election has come into sharp relief. It is about gender. Now, Democrats have been losing ground among a key voting bloc, men of color, particularly black men, for years. And the polls show that erosion will likely worsen this November. It is something President Barack Obama has repeatedly called out. Earlier this month, Obama asked black men in Pittsburgh if they just aren't feeling the idea of having a woman as president. But it is not just black men. Young white men, especially those without a college degree, overwhelmingly support Trump. And Trump has expanded his outreach to non-college educated black and Latino men as well.
White men without college degrees, they have skated for all of this time. All of this time, we've been having these conversations about black men. We've been having these conversations about black people. We've been having these conversations about white women, not nearly enough about white women, quite frankly. But white men without college degrees going against their best interests, when is that conversation happening? I need to know.
Yesterday, I spoke to a group of black men at Kenny's Barbershop in West Philadelphia about the issue that might decide this election: gender.
Obama made remarks on the campaign trail. He was at a stop, I think at Pittsburgh, right? And he said, I think there's some brothers out there who are on the fence and they're saying it's because of this or that, but I think, I'm paraphrasing here, but it's because they have a problem electing a woman as president. And they're making excuses basically for that, but that's the issue. And black women have gotten our backs for so long. They've raised us up, they've helped us out, and it's time for you to show up for Kamala. And I just wonder, for anybody who heard that, like, what they thought of that.
I was deeply offended. And it felt like a moment where it's like, you N-words better get in line and do what we say. And it felt like him as the czar of the Democratic Party coming down to say, go get these N-words in line. And the general tone of it was disgusting. It was abhorrent. I don't respect it. I didn't like nothing about it.
Okay, let's re-rack the general tone of it. That tone is pretty casual, actually. I don't know how it gets weaponized to disgusting unless you have had a battery put in your back by somebody else who's characterized it for you.
And Kamala, 2 days after that, is like, we love our black men. We have programs and things that we're rolling out for them, and she rolled out policy.
Good cop, bad cop. You know, because
I'm tired of the good cop, bad cop. I'm tired of it.
Black men have to be there for black women in the same way that black women have always been there for us as single parents, all that and more. And what he was ultimately trying to say is, like, by not voting for Kamala Harris over basically somebody as a clown, it's almost like as a general disrespect.
But she's not the only person on the ballot.
Women are discriminated against. Women are treated differently.
That is a pretty savage point that he just raised right there, because her opponent cannot be erased from this debate. We are not asking you to vote for a black woman because she's a black woman. We are asking you to support a black woman in her race against a man who's been demonstrably racist for 5 decades.
People who, every day, all day long, we are having conversations across the city, in all these states. I was having conversations last Thursday, and there was a young man, just turned 18. We got him registered to vote. He went and voted after the conversation, but he led his conversation with, I can't vote for Kamala because women are emotional. And many young men, so we all here as grown men.
Opinion of 118.
It's not one. You're missing the point. You're missing the point.
Now that is fascinating. Obviously, he's quoting somebody else, and it is interesting to hear some discussion within the acknowledged sexism. Like, let's stop having these conversations about whether or not it exists and just dig into it a little bit. The idea that women are emotional. Now, it is extremely clear who's the most emotional between these two people when they sat across from each other on the debate stage. So there is no other explanation other than just clear blatant sexism, which once we have it on the table, then we can work with it.
Women are discriminated against. I manage athletes. They're treated like objects. Women are paid less. We can't act like women are not treated unfair. Hold on, wait, let me finish. We can't act like there's not some truth in what he is saying.
I mean, I don't know how you can hear, yeah, women are emotional, I can't vote for Kamala Harris as a reason to vote for Donald Trump over literally anybody. I mean, he might be the most emotional person who's ever even run for president, and not acknowledge the clear sexism that exists. Like, it's okay. It doesn't have to be you to acknowledge that it exists within us. We are not a monolith. It's okay.
Michelle Obama gave Barack a lot of credibility, because if he'd have marched a white woman across the stage, he'd still be in Chicago.
Right. Somebody say Michelle Obama? Sorry, any excuse to run a clip of this.
You want to talk about plans? Well, my husband left him a very detailed pandemic plan. And you know what he did? He ignored it. He had no clue how to get us out of that crisis. No ability to bring back the millions of jobs we lost so suddenly. No idea how to get our students back into school safely. No attempt to help stem the epidemic of loneliness and isolation that too many of our young people are still dealing with. And his failures had real costs. America lost 7 million more jobs during the COVID downturn than the European Union. Among wealthy nations, the United States had one of the highest COVID death rates. Again, all of this occurred with Trump in charge.
Absolutely clean. Should I do a piece about whether or not she's the best speaker that we currently have in this country? Yeah, and I mean everybody. I'm talking about Barack. I'm talking about everybody. All right, back to this one.
So it's a lot. Barack had characteristics that gave him outs. It's easier. She's married to a white man. Yep. She's mixed. Yep. She's got a dicey history. They got pictures of her glamorous. She looks good. And you know what they say? You know, they give her the dumb blonde energy. It's much easier. It's much easier to get your jokes off. And everybody cracking up, thinking it's funny, laughing. And when it's easier to get your jokes off, it just is. And it's unfortunate that like we grew up in a culture where those are sort of things that we talked about.
He brought up a number of really good things, juxtaposing Kamala with Barack Obama. The spouse, that doesn't get brought up. If she was with a black man, the ramifications that might have for how people see her, and she's still going to deal with the sexism.
Trump is eating into the Democrats' lead with black voters. The men I spoke to were quick to point out that black men, young and old, still overwhelmingly support Harris. The real issue, they say, lies with other voting blocs.
So I know everybody's saying the black men is the biggest shift in numbers. I hope I'm wrong, but I'm calling bullshit on that. I don't believe it. Polls can say polls, all that stuff can say what it can say, but when it's time to go vote, right, like, every year it's us.
We are not the issue, but we became the issue after Trump made a play for us when nobody was talking about us. But at the same time, we can't pretend that it hasn't become a popular talking point amongst black men in media who feel like they want to be provocative and drive up their likes and things like that. Like Charlemagne is in the commercial. He's in the commercial talking about Kamala. And now it's cool, but he's literally and it's like, and it's popular, and we have to recognize that, Antonio Brown, it's popular. People calling her a whore, talking about her history, and when I walk in the barbershop and I hear people saying these things, I'm like, oh, you bugging, dog? What that got to do with anything?
One more time for those in the back.
We can't pretend that it hasn't become a popular talking point amongst black men in media who feel like they want to be provocative and drive up their likes and things like that. Like Charlemagne is in the commercial. He's in the commercial talking about Kamala. And now it's cool, but he's literally and it's and it's popular.
That is so real. And it's also something that I've echoed here before. I see it in this space on YouTube, how popular it is to be a black conservative. Oh, you're a black conservative? You're black and you want to call the other blacks DI? The way in which they will amplify and elevate you on just about every platform because of what you represent. People do it for their own. That's why they say the grift is real. Even me, I have to weed through all these black conservatives when I get on YouTube, and you know that ain't what I'm watching and what I'm looking at. It has become the thing that's popular to do. However, by virtue of the fact that they're elevating these voices, is telling you that they're giving them an outsized portion of the discussion. So the appearance is that they represent more than they actually do.
But if the goal is to win the race, we gotta put some pressure on white women, bro. We gotta put some pressure on the Latino community. Absolutely. You know what I'm saying?
Isaiah Thomas and Kevin Harden absolutely went for it. I totally agree with what he said, and I was gonna comment on what he said previously. Other groups have been just as responsible and need to be held just as accountable to supporting policies and a man that has done them filthy and promises to continue to do them filthy.
What a great job.
This is not a purely black male thing, which is, if there's one thing I'm going to do to support the brother in the beginning who was talking about Obama's comments, is that. And I've repeatedly says that. He's absolutely right, and pressure absolutely needs to be applied to some other groups.
It is you who owes.
Now, one thing I am grateful for is, as much as it has become popular and the people that are interested in the short-term shiny things are going to do and say Antonio Brown things. Like, I understand that. Although it's still fascinating. That guy said that, all the calling Kamala out her name. Women, y'all cool? That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Apparently that's cool with everybody that was in the first clip. I'm assuming. One thing that I am grateful for, because we're having these conversations, as much as I think it doesn't need to specifically highlight the Black community, because we're having these conversations, there is an elevated level of awareness of how some of these voices are being amplified. And for my part, I'm gonna amplify some different voices. Take it away, kids.
Things I trust more than Donald Trump.
Nick Cannon pull-out game.
Gas station sushi.
A Diddy party, y'all. Baby oil edition.
A Casey Anthony daycare.
Food in an Atlanta restaurant when I walk in and I see nothing but grass walls and hookah.
Potato salad with raisins and a 2-day leftover. Not once refrigerated.
Burger King chicken nuggets.
A shark with a pet me sign.
Stevie Wonder in the driver's seat.